Randy,
you can call
yes.
me Andy.
Cool.
Yes, I think that's good.
So, you guys, feel free to, if you want to get record or video, it's all fine. You guys just, tell me what you'd like to chat about. And I guess I will at least introduce myself again. We haven't met, so
Okay.
I'm Randy Price. I'm the Senior Vice President of ArenaNet.
Okay, so how long you will need for the interview?
Half an hour, I think. Half an hour for the interview?
Yeah, we have about 25 minutes or so. Yeah.
Okay. These are some questions out of my community. So now the first videos about Guild Wars 2 are released, and the community see the demos, and they have problems with the interface. Is the interface final? This health bar, this round health bar, is this final, or do you think about to switch this again?
Well, that's a good question. So think in terms of you guys. We've been in development for a bit here, and we've talked about that. Again, we are still heavily working on the game. Day in, day out. We're going to make changes. Of course, we're going to be making lots of changes. It isn't just about adding content. We're going to continue to do things to improve and optimize. With respect to UI, I don't think there isn't a specific plan right now that there's something specific. But we'll even be looking at our fans' comments and feedback. We're always doing that. So, I guess I would encourage people to continue, writing on forums and putting it out there. We'll take a look, and there's always an evolution.
Yesterday I saw a lot about the events and the cooperative game. So the typical MMO is based on group building. So 5 or 6 people.
Yep.
So
Yep.
how do you encourage this, or will this be not part of Guild Wars 2?
Well, okay, I think that's one of the coolest parts about our dynamic events. So again, these dynamic events, we talked about this yesterday. There's visual cues in the world. There's fires and smoke. You hear explosions, you hear things going on, and you see these events, and you decide to jump into them as a player. At that point in time, I could be just myself, that I haven't partied up with anybody else, or I could be a part of a party, say 5 people. Okay. Now I jump into that event. And lots of other players have converged on it, because a lot of people see that a battle is raging, and so they go and they participate. Luckily, the way we've designed it isn't luck. It's the way we've designed it is that we're all working for a common goal. We're all trying to solve the same issue going on there. When it's the Shatterer and the Dragon, everybody's trying to work together to bring down this huge boss. There are different roles that players are playing cooperatively to get it done, whether or not it's manning mortars or cannons, defending people who are actually having to man those, defending them from dragon minions, people that are getting people out of who've gotten encased in crystals. So from a party standpoint, I can be a player who's there solo, who's cooperatively playing with a bunch of people. I could choose to kind of ignore that these are real players playing next to me and just concentrate on my own combat. Or I could be partied up with 1, 2, 3, 4 other people, even within that zone that has more players in it. So we think the key part about this is that we really are trying to give the power to the player to choose how you want to play. The beauty of MMOs is that you get to play with a lot of other people, and there's all the social aspects to it and the teamwork aspects to it. But yet we go beyond that core MMO. This is a game that should appeal to a much broader audience, to people who they like to solo, and that's okay, and we want to support that.
Yeah. But will there be special instances or quests just for a party?
Okay, so if you think about the personal storyline, when I'm venturing on my personal story, if I want, I can bring my party with me on that. And even my personal storyline will scale. It will scale up to the fact that they're, like you said, it's a party of 5. And that would be just fine, and actually be a very entertaining way to play through your personal story. All of your friends will see how your story is unfolding. We'll designate, between our party members, we'll designate whose personal story is this. Is this Randy's, or is it somebody else's? And that's okay. that means that the choices I make won't impact your story
Okay.
or the other party member's stories. It will impact mine. And we can choose to then go and play another one of our party members' story at a different time.
So personal storylines are instanced.
They are instanced. They are instanced for for the main parts where again where we're
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to have permanent choices being made. It's a place where we're able to give the kind of lasting implication to what are crucial choices that I make along the way, and that's also how the story branches so much, where you end up with all these different kinds of combinations of stories, and at the end of the day, if you looked at my story and compared it to yours, they're going to be very different based upon ways that we decided to choose to play the game.
I have one question, because the first Guild Wars was completely free of grinding. It was completely different from the other MMOs, and
Thank
the
you.
Guild Wars, I played it a lot, and the Guild Wars 2, will it be as well free of grinding and I don't know, farming is impossible maybe, but do we have to grind or not?
Our whole philosophy around grind stays the same. We are very much into not giving players meaningless, inconsequential tasks. Easy example of that. Think about the whole quest chain that occurs in a normal sense. I mean, we're really trying to innovate beyond where MMOs have been. Click on an NPC, the big wall of text. It's just about the grind. I gotta go and kill 10 ogres in the field who aren't really doing anything. There's not really a fun, interactive, dynamic element to that. I go kill them, sure, I take them down, but I gotta go back to that NPC and I end up turning in my quest and confront with another wall of text that I don't read and get my reward. Okay, that's one way to do it. Again, we've set that aside. So if you even think about getting away from grind, we've even set that whole questing aside and made it such that you're organically adventuring in the world. You're experiencing, deciding to play what you want to when you come into the world. If you discover an event and you see it, you can play through it or choose to continue adventuring on to a different spot. You aren't going to have to stop and be forced into grind-like tasks. It's really you get to play the way you want to play.
And do we get to see some major NPCs get killed, like in the first part? A particular prince, very cocky, was dismembered, if I can say that. So what about that events in Guild Wars 2 during the single player
During your
story?
personal story,
Yeah.
and during the story of the world, yeah, things are going to happen. I mean, the life and death decisions will be made. You may have opportunities to decide. Where you'll have tough choices in front of you. Maybe a dilemma as to whether or not you are going to let somebody die or save them, and that could have a very strong implication into your personal story. So definitely don't rule out kind of some of the most exciting things that can happen in a plot.
Can you explain a little bit the sidekick system?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So I think the best example of that is bringing people into your personal story, like we talked about. We also are allowing people to team up in ways where, again, it's you can have a much higher level player team up with lower level players, and the way it works is that we'll end up having the higher level player merge with the lower level player and going through their story, where it has scale to them, but it still has to be meaningful for that lower level player to be able to play through the activities. And so it will kind of bridge the two and enable them to, in a more balanced fashion, play through a personal story.
Is there any problem when you're grouped with a high-level character and go to an event, have the other characters problems because a boss or the monster raise in this level or move down in this level, so that the other players have problems with this group of bigger characters?
Actually, when you're partying up with your friends and if you're adventuring out, you're really going to have to figure out how to figure a role in there. I think there's decisions that designers are constantly thinking about as to how to enable players to play across level. It's something that, again, we'll continue talking more about that here as we go.